Hi, I'm Jadisola
And I'm Sarah.
and we're reacting to the first edition of 18 Lead Project. Let's dive in.
Education is the best legacy has begun to sound like a cliche in the lives of people, and this is because education that is meant to be regarded and valued in a country is began to be taken with levity. One of the problems facing the educational sector in Nigeria is the problem of creativity and rigidity in the curriculum. Nigerian curriculum does not accommodate and give room for students to express this creativity that they have in them, be it singing, writing, or any creative act of any kind. It doesn't provide them platforms to hone this creativity they have in them. So what I'm going to do is to provide structures, tools, and equipment, give them a platform to express themselves and leash out this creativity they have in them, because creativity leads to innovation. Another problem facing the educational sector in Nigeria is lack of training structures for teachers. I'm going to give a scenario of a Nigerian graduate that finishes from a tertiary institution, and because he cannot find an employment opportunity to sustain himself, he goes to a primary school or a public school, a primary school or a secondary school to teach. Now what is going to happen is he's going to produce untrained students. So what I'm going to do is to provide structures and provide a means, a facility that aids teachers training. Now this would make the teachers equip them to be able to effectively meet and cater for the needs of students. Other problems facing the educational sector in Nigeria are problems of infrastructures, problems of inconducive learning environment, amongst others. I hope these solutions serve as a guide and a compass in solving some of these problems, specific problems affecting the educational sector in Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, so Sarah had very exciting points. What do you think about our general overview?
Yeah, to start with, I would say that she was really confident and enthusiastic about it. And the framing was perfect. Really perfect.
Yes, I particularly liked the way she was positioned at the center of the frame throughout.
Yeah.
That was very
It was a
interesting.
perfect background, perfect lighting. The use of language was fluent, and all. It was perfect, I would say that.
Yeah, and so she actually really did address all of those. I like that she was specific in addressing the problems. I made out curriculum, activities, and ensuring that within the curriculum we have exciting way to express creativity.
Yes.
And
She also mentioned that teachers needed to be trained and enlightened to do the teaching effectively.
yeah, that's right. After secondary school, I actually went to school to teach.
She was talking about you.
Yeah. Okay. So Sarah's performance was excellent. You would
Yes,
say
I
that.
would say.
Okay.
Yes, her solutions were quite practical and achievable, very practical and achievable, and she stuck to the time frame, which is very commendable.
Yes. She paid close attention to the problems and she provided the solutions. So our next video will be Jackson.
Yes.
So,
I have basically 5 problems based on my research in order to weed out or solve if I were the president. And these problems are: number 1, regular payment of teachers and lecturers' salary. We are not unfamiliar with the case of the academic staff of union and universities ASuu, which embarked on strike on the 14th of February till today as I am speaking with you. Although Nigeria. Number 2, I will ensure provision of security. Now, we have seen in 2014 the kidnapping of 276 girls at Chibok under Boko Haram. And also, it is recorded in 2021, September 21st, a total sum of 1,440 students have been adopted and 25 schools been attacked. So I will provide and ensure securities in the educational sector. Third, I will ensure the provision of infrastructure and educational facilities together with high learning technology high standard technology in the educational sector. If we can see in the developed countries, the reason why their educational sector is being developed and boosted is because of the high level of the laboratories, ICT gadgets, and the tools they have in promoting their educational sector. So I will really provide high amounts of educational facilities such as projectors and laptops in secondary schools and institutions in order to ease the educational work. Fourth, I will ensure the elimination of examination malpractice coupled with corruption that is inside the educational sector. You can see people being bribed in order to cheat in exam. You can see students having the course they want because they know somebody in the educational sector in order to promote them. And also lecturers do collect bribes from students in order to pass their course. Lastly, I will ensure the employment of qualified teachers in the educational sector with certificate and teachers and lecturers who has basic knowledge on their feet. Thank you and remain.
Okay, Jackson. It's framing.
Yeah, his framing is quite nice. It works well.
Yeah, I like the fact that he was standing straight and you could see his entire body view. And like Sarah, Jackson kept to the framing revelation.
Yeah, it wasn't
Factor. It wasn't
all over the place.
It's very interesting. And I like his composure. There was something very interesting about his composure. It was vigorous in his gesticulation, and he kept coming at us and bringing facts and points and all of that. So yeah, it was passionate. So vote for Jackson 2023 election. Okay, so he expressed a lot of confidence and enthusiasm, and
I would say that his points, like Sarah, his points were quite practical and they weren't unachievable. They were achievable. They were points that we should look forward to dealing with. I would also like to commend the fact that he took out that extra effort to
he
highlight
went
his
the
point.
extra mile.
Yeah.
So he did
If you can't hear him clearly, you can read it. It was nice. Yeah,
that
nice.
was very intelligent of him.
And it stuck to time. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Stuck to time really well.
it did stick to time. It looked ready to fight with a system that wasn't working. So thumbs up. Well done, Sarah. Well done, Jackson.
And let's move on to the next video.
One of the problems facing the educational sector in Nigeria is lack of infrastructural facilities. Most schools and colleges lack infrastructural facilities like libraries, laboratories, classrooms, or lecture rooms. If these are available, it will be able to help the students. And also, the issue of bad leadership, which is going on in schools. Most leaders are more concerned about their personal needs, and therefore they are really lackadaisical about the education of students. So some leaders lack vision for the development of education in Nigeria, and therefore when the vision is lost, like education will be taken as a number one priority. And also the act of examination malpractice, which has become the order of the day in most schools, and even teachers who are meant to help them, who are meant to discourage them from indulging in this act, are even the one assisting them in this. So the solutions to these problems are: one, the provision infrastructural facilities must be provided in schools by government or personal individuals. If these are provided, it will be able to encourage learning and also to boost the education and also to boost the academic performance of students in schools.
And also, um, availability of good leaders whose aim is to improve the educational system in Nigeria. And because if these are available, education will be taken as number one priority, and there will be aim and goals for education in Nigeria. Then also, um, examination malpractice must be curbed in school, and moral values, norms, morals, values, and norms should be taught in schools, as this would help the students to rely on themselves and to read in preparations for exam, and this will be able to build initiatives and to create more knowledge and people who are really dependent on themselves, and this would go a long way in building the future leaders of tomorrow in Nigeria.
Okay, so Mosun had a very pretty good framing composition as well, and she has such beautiful eyes. I know, right? And yeah, composure was beautiful. She didn't get out of the frame, and it was very.
Though she wasn't as energetic as Jackson.
Yeah, she wasn't as energetic as our Jackson, prospective president in sometime in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
I would say that like others, her points were quite realistic. They were achievable. Though she wasn't exactly specific in that she didn't pose as the president as instructed. She acted like she was a third party, but they were achievable and pretty practical. Those things need to be dealt with, and she kept the time pretty well.
she did keep the time. So she responded to us as though she was a special advisor to the president of education. We wanted somebody to put themselves. We wanted them to be in that in that position. And yeah, I like that she stated the problems before providing the solution. That was very good. It was very.
It wasn't
practical.
vague.
It wasn't abstract exactly. It wasn't vague. And yeah, some of the points you mentioned are very, very achievable. I mean, curbing exam malpractice and getting stakeholders to work together, getting the government and the students and the people and everybody, every stakeholder in education to work. That was a very valid point.
That needs to be
Addressed.
done.
Yes. Alright, so that's it for Mosul.
Yeah, so we'll be moving on to Perpetual.
Hey, my name is Perpetual, and I want to defend the topic. This says, what will you do to solve the specific problem associated with the education sector in Nigeria? As we all know, the educational system in Nigeria is in the mud thanks to the ongoing mutual disagreement between two bodies who battle to protect the interests of the students. The two bodies are the asuu and the federal government. The ongoing disagreement has not only affected the university level students, but it has also indirectly affected the primary and secondary level students. Education is an investment in knowledge which pays the very best. The importance of education in a nation cannot be emphasized. In most parts of the world, education is regarded as fundamental human right. If you want to destroy a nation, kill their education. Now, what are the problems associated with the education sector in Nigeria? Poor funding, unavailability of teachers, nepotism in admission, high tuition fees, greed, corruption and indiscipline, cultism, and so many more. Now, what are the solutions to the problems associated with the education sector in Nigeria? One, we need great teachers. I will make sure I employ teachers that are able to impart knowledge into the student lives and not the ones that want to collect their money to impart knowledge into them. No, I will make sure I will provide adequate teachers that are ready to impart knowledge into student life. Another one is I will make sure there is adequate development, such as infrastructural development and empowerment of teachers, empowerment of qualified teachers to teach the students. Another one is I will make sure that students study their desired courses. I'll make sure students choose the course they want and that is what they will study. And also I will provide conducive environment for learning, environment that cultism is not practiced, environment that is settled, that is clean, that will impart knowledge into the student lives. Another one is I will make sure I appoint capable ministers and commissioners of education who are ready to sacrifice their time for students. Another one is security. I will make sure I provide security in all over the schools to prevent the students against sexual harassment. Another one is fees. I'll make sure I give students more time to pay their fees because all fingers are not equal. You can't expect when a plan A should pay to be the same time plan B to pay. No, it shouldn't be so. I'll make sure I give them enough time for them to pay their school fees. Another one is strike. I will make sure that lecturers are paid on time. I will even make sure that lecturers are paid before the end of the month. I will make sure of that to avoid students to sit down at home. I will make sure that lecturers are being paid on time. Another one is discipline. I will make sure that there's disciplinary action to lecture students against sexual harassment. And lastly, I will make sure that after school there is job opportunity. This makes students to be focused and study well to show themselves approved. Thank you.
Perpetual. Okay, so Perpetual had very amazing points. I mean, it was obvious that she did her research before she sat to express her opinion. And I like the fact that she personalized the whole thing. She put herself in that position. She kept saying, I will make sure. Another one. I will make sure. That's pretty interesting. Okay, so for me, it was good. A composition was
Commendable.
and Perpetual displayed enthusiasm. Okay. Yeah, okay. So, some of the points that stood out with me, I'd like to address them. And one is that so she mentioned that she was not going to employ the teachers that want to collect money to impact knowledge. I mean,
Well, I think that was just wrongly placed.
Okay.
I
So
would say she probably intended to say that she would employ teachers who are very passionate about impacting knowledge
more than
those who were just out to get their money.
for it.
I think that's
rightly placed. Thank you. So
some of her points were practical and achievable. I would say that. Some of her points were practical. She was specific in a way, though she put out all the issues and then gave solutions. But I would say, all the solutions. But I would say that they were specific and she stuck to timing really well.
yeah, excellently. So yes, that's it for the Perpetual.
Moving on to Jewel.
I'm about doing Jewel and I'm going to talk about the educational system in Nigeria and the things that I think are wrong with it. There are two problems with our educational system. One is in the teaching aspect and the other would be in the learning aspect. Now about the teaching aspect, in most public schools, there are not a lot of up-to-date teachers. I mean, more than half of the teaching population is actually made up of quite aged people who no doubt would have had a lot of years of experience, but experience isn't enough when it comes to teaching. The world is getting more advanced and more civilized day by day, which affects everything. So, a teacher with decades of teaching experience, certainly who left school years ago, might be behind in the advancement of teaching, which would be a disadvantage because it's their knowledge from time past they can only hold on to. Now, I feel like the solution to that would be if the government could employ younger minds with up-to-date teaching skills. This would definitely boost their teachings. And also about employing youth, no youth, I repeat, no youth would want to be a teacher, because the first idea that comes into their head when they hear teaching is, well, I cannot be financially stable when I'm a teacher, because teachers don't really earn much. So if the government can make the teacher's salary, more appealing and more mouth-watering, I feel like this will attract more youth and people who do have interest in teaching. So, and to help the teaching system. Now, it will also reduce the rate of unemployment in the country. On the other hand, learning itself can be a problem. When students have problems with certain subject, they can't relate with the teachers because they are in no way near their age group. This will cause a major setback and reduction in their performance. But if there were younger teachers which students can easily get along with, teachers that are like in the same age group or stuff like that, this will create a very healthy relationship which has a lot of benefits, as students can easily express themselves to the teachers and go anytime and talk to the teachers about their difficulties in their subject. And also there's this little problem of laboratory apparatus. Now in most public schools, they don't have the adequate and needed laboratory equipment, so they don't conduct most of these necessary experiments in the lab. This reduces the students' knowledge, as they have no idea what that aspect of learning is. Now if the government should provide equipment, this would actually help to see as they can perform all experiments and be ahead of everything. All in all, what I'm trying to say is the government should increase teacher salaries to encourage and draw more people into the teaching profession, and the government should employ younger minds to create an healthy communication relationship between the teachers and the students. And also the government should please provide more and the adequate needed apparatus for experiments in the laboratory. Thank you.
So, Jewel, I would say that Jewel was pretty timely. She kept time as well, and her composure was good. She wasn't all over the place as well. And framing, what do you think?
Framing was not exactly what I expected that we would see, because she was not quite fit within the film. She'll have opportunities to, do better and perfect that part. Yeah. And yeah, she did keep to time, and she was specific. Although to talk about specificity, she didn't quite put herself in the position of the president as Perpetual and our prospective president sometime in the future, Jackson. Yeah, and she didn't quite do that. And she kept saying the government should, the government should, the government should. I think she should have said I would, or I will when I. But it was a brilliant. She had brilliant ideas. She looked like she sounded like she actually did our research before she came to share things with us. Yeah. And that's it for Joel. So, for all of the participants, we've sent them detailed feedback on the things they should note for corrections and every kind of corrections. And we've had our feedback sent to them, and I'm sure that they're going to adhere to
all of the advices and instructions that we see.
Yes. So, Perpetual, you did well. You won the first edition of Italy Project competition. This is big thumbs up for you. Well done. Congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah, and well done to every other participant. Sarah, you did a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful presentation. It was absolutely beautiful. Wouldn't you say? It was absolutely beautiful. And Jackson for 2023 election. Yeah, I liked your energy. You sounded like you were ready to, fix everything that is wrong with the educational system in Nigeria. And then we have Mosun. Yes, Mosun, Joel. Well done, Mosun. Well done, Joel. You also did your research before you came to speak with us, before you expressed your thoughts and opinions. Well done. You did a brilliant job. Thank you very much for participating. Yeah, and yes, study to show yourself approved. In and according to okay, we got that back. And according to Perpetual, always study to show yourself approved.